Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon. This afternoon, hope everybody had a wonderful weekend as we get closer to the Christmas holiday and as we don our gay apparel. We're going to be talking a lot about what happened from the weekend, Razorback football, Razorback basketball, some coaching additions reportedly happening for the staff here with Ryan Silverfield. Of course, we'll get to the madness of the college football playoff and bowls and controversy and all that. And your chats, of course, we'll get into. But fellas, happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. How are the vibes here on this Monday?
Not bad. A lot better than they were going into the weekend for me, for sure. Happy to be back on with you guys. My vibes were good going into this. You hit intro, and I was like, "Ooh, I got to check real quick and see what that AP poll is looking like." Arkansas up to 17, boys. 8 spots up after a big week. It'll be number 17 Arkansas versus number 16 Texas Tech on Saturday. Hell of a matchup. I'm excited.
Yeah, my vibes are good. Today is the first day that, we knew that when they changed the portal window to specific dates and nobody can really officially enter the portal till January, we knew it'd be a big deal. But today is the first day where it's really sitting into me, where it's like, man, we don't have to live on, pins and needles all times throughout the month of December. I just think back to how we were this time last year and how much better I feel now. One, about Arkansas's basketball team, because they're playing better than they were this time last year. I don't feel better about Arkansas football necessarily, but it's a new era, still exciting. We've still got those that honeymoon phase kind of getting out of our system. I'm in good spirits, man. I have nothing that can bring me down today.
Yeah, nothing that can bring you down unless some BS happens, which always is very possible here, not only during this show, but on this show. So be nice, chat, be in the festive spirits. It's the holidays, it's Christmas. So let's just love each other and have a good time and have a great Monday today. But it's gonna be a busy week, I know, because again, it's that time of year where coaching staff, of course, is continuing to come into play for Ryan Silverfield and everything. And I know from Friday's show, there hasn't really been any major things happen other than the fact that yesterday you had a special teams coach reportedly get hired with Chad Lunsford, which I'm really excited about because of the connections that I remember having him on my radio show a few years ago when Arkansas played Georgia Southern. He was the head coach. But not only do you have that, but it was also, I say reported, it was reported by the guy, Eric Mateos, will not be retained as the Arkansas offensive line coach. That was announced by him yesterday. So I know a lot of people were waiting in on that. But it looks from the latest from Matt Zenitz that Arkansas is going to be hiring Ohio State's Marcus Johnson, as well as Memphis's Jeff Myers, to be the offensive line coaches. So Johnson was an ex-offensive lineman, played for the new Arkansas coach Ryan Silverfield for the Vikings. Is coached a number of standout linemen, and Myers, of course, was the Memphis's offensive line coach and run game coordinator the last 2 years. So starting to take shape. Looks like the entire offensive staff is put together, assuming that Morgan Turner is going to be retained officially as the tight ends coach. But guys, just what do you make of the moves? Have any reactions to that as far as not only the additions, but also the coaches that will not be retained for Arkansas?
I'm pretty excited about Lunsford. I don't know what his background is as special teams coordinator or what. I haven't looked into that, but I recall him being a really good coach, and but I think it's a good pickup for your staff no matter what. So I like that. I'm disappointed that Mateos won't be back. I think he did a really good job. I mean, he was only there for 2 years, and it was a pretty good turnaround from where that thing was. So it seemed like they were trending in the right direction. I hope that Arkansas is able to retain the guys that they were hoping to, because they had such a strong young core, very promising with that offensive line. We'll see what that looks like, but can't fault the new coach for bringing in his guys. I don't know what co-offensive line coaches or whatever looks like. Do you have one for the guards, one for the tackles? Do you have a snapping specialist? What is this really going to mean? I don't know, but given what we've dealt with Arkansas for the past several years here on the O-line, get as many coaches as you want to help them out. We know Silverfield's got that background too. Great. Get an entire staff have a coach for every single offensive lineman for all I care. But I'm anxious to see, what it looks like and what the vibes are with those guys. I will say, had Silverfield, had he not done the thing where he was like, hey, you guys you're going to be blown away with this staff that we put together. And man, you're going to see it with the money that we spend and everything like that. I would probably be looking at this right now going, okay, like, hey, this is not too bad, man. They're putting together something pretty decent here. He kind of laid some expectations. He might have got too far ahead of himself, but outside of saying that, he's kind of done exactly what he said he was going to do, which is SEC experience, NFL experience. He's been checking a lot of those boxes. So it's an interesting staff. I'm not blown away, but I'm certainly not disappointed. I know we'll get to your poll question a little bit later with what they've got going on right now.
Yeah, I'm good with the offensive staff. You know, like you said, we expected him to bring over a lot of his Memphis guys, which he did. And we expected if you're going to bring over Memphis guys, they would most likely be on the offensive side of the ball. So I'm still very intrigued to see how that defensive staff takes shape. And we can really start making our hot takes about, did this staff over deliver, under deliver, whatever, once it's all completed. But in terms of the offensive side of the ball, I'm always going to kind of defer to the offensive-minded coach, which Ryan Silverfield is, which a lot of people on his staff are. How they want to set up their scheme is up to them, you know, and if it ends up sucking, then maybe, yeah, we can point at it and say, hey, you did this wrong, you did that wrong. But when you're building your staff and trying to build your vision as a head coach, you need a lot of guys who share that same vision and can kind of execute that with the offense. And so I'm all for it. I was bummed out about the Mateos thing because I love Eric Mateos. I think he's a stud. I think having him around helps. I mean, he's a guy that obviously very familiar with the university, familiar with O-line. And so I was excited about that dynamic. But like I said on Friday's show, you can actually go back and listen. We said, hey, if they decide to go another direction, none of us should be upset. But if they do decide to go with Mateos, none of us should be upset there either. It's up to them and what they want to do. He ends up bringing in his guy and then brings in an assistant O-line coach from Ohio State, which, like you said, is he going to serve as an assistant O-line coach here? Are they going to be co-O-line coaches? I do find it funny that the University of Arkansas, our fan base, and, you know, frankly, media too, because, you know, at the press conferences, I'm sure every media press conference this fall camp is going to be like, wait a minute. So you've got two coaches, one spot. What's that? Wait, so what do y'all do? You know, we did this with the DB thing. We've done this with the D line before. We've done this with wide receivers before. Now we're doing it with O-line. If you look around at a football practice, there's like 30 coaches all standing around, whether it's GAs, whether it's student assistants, whether it's whatever. Having two actual paid employees there at the O-line does not bother me one bit. I also don't care how it works, if I'm being 100% honest with you. Like, I just trust them to do what they got to do. But yeah, for the most part, like you said, if we didn't have the whole you're going to be blown away thing, I would be more inclined to be like, man, this is a pretty good offensive staff. Like, I mean, I'm kind of excited about it, given the fact that we were supposed to be quote unquote blown away. I'm okay with it. I'll just leave it at that. I'm good with it.
Yeah, and I think that's fair because you know, the situation with, like, as far as the roles go and everything. Like, I did a little talk about with Marcus Johnson, the guy from Ohio State. You know, he was the assistant O-line coach there, but he played at Ole Miss. He coached at Duke. He coached at Mississippi State. So he's got a lot of connections there as far as the Mississippi area, which is kind of what, I'm not saying this is for sure what he's going to do or all he's going to do, but when it comes to the recruiting side of stuff, we talked a little bit about it on Friday of like, hey, they had some Louisiana connections with some of the coaches that they've hired, because it looks like David Johnson's going to be the guy as far as the running backs coach with a lot of connections there. This seems to be a guy that has a lot of Mississippi connections, which last time I checked, Louisiana, Mississippi, those are two states that produce some really good talent and going in there to recruit. So yeah, I'm fine with it too. It looks like the offensive staff is pretty much settled in, against assuming that Morgan Turner's there, but it also feels like there's going to be at least one position group that's going to have like a dual coach situation. You know, like these past few years, it's been, you know, was it Marcus Woodson was the safeties coach, and then they had a cornerbacks coach. It's like, okay, you know, but an offensive line coach, I'm with you too. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with the way it's going to be as far as that staff goes. And we're still just kind of waiting on the defensive side, because all we know, at least from reports, is that it's Ron Roberts. He's the defense coordinator. We don't know linebackers, D-line, safeties, cornerbacks, anything like that. So it's starting to take shape. But I think it was fascinating because, you know, special teams is special teams. And I'm really happy because Chad Lunsford, he even reached out to me because he still follows me on Twitter from way back when I had him on. And he was like, man, I'm so excited. Like, reach out to me if you ever need anything. And I'm like, good, I'll know where to send all the tweets. Anytime your kicker misses a 50-yard field goal, they'll be like, fire this guy into the sun. It's like, I'll let you know where he's at. But the fascinating thing, though, about the offensive line, you mentioned retention, because Mateos was one of the few assistant coaches, I think we'd all agree, where it's like, if you kept him, everybody would be like, hey, that's a good move. Like that makes sense, because a lot of the talent that they have. And I think that that's what's going to be fascinating about this. Not to say that, if they lose some offensive linemen, they can't bring in some offensive linemen that are really good, but there's just something about having the experience in the SEC, having the core group, because you got 5 guys, and there is a chance, say if they kept everybody from this past year, I mean, you're talking about what, 3 starters and maybe 4 or 5 guys that actually played significant snaps that could be returning. Like, that's a big deal. Like Caden Kittler, who played center this year, theoretically could return. You think about Amarian Harris. You think about Shaq McCrory. You think about Kobe Branham. Like, these are all players that could return next season. And I don't know. I'm not going to say it's going to be bad, but if I'm looking at this offensive line, guys, and the starters next year, and I see 5 brand new faces, it's just not, it could be fine, but it's not going to just me go into it be like, man, yeah, this is going to be a great group. I like familiarity.
Yeah, I do too. And it's really important on the offensive line. It's like the you're only as strong as your weakest link kind of thing there. It's really true. So they had a great core set to return. Hopefully they retain a good core, at least. Because like Eric Mateos is not going to be without work. He's going to find a job, probably a good one. And I would imagine there would be at least one, maybe a couple guys who are like, okay, he recruited me. That's my dude. I'm going to follow him. And I can't hold a grudge against anyone who does that. And we know how it works with, tampering and everything like that. I'm sure, at least I have an idea, that there are going to be some guys who are getting some strong ass offers, if you will, to go play elsewhere. So Arkansas is still going to have to fight all that stuff off there. And I think about this roster rebuild and what it's going to look like for the Hogs. And offensive line was one of those positions where, you might have to give some guys raises to keep them around or whatever, but you got a lot of that in-house already, and you need to be spending your big bucks at other positions, maybe the opposite side of the line of scrimmage. So the less you have to do in terms of going out and getting starting level offensive linemen for your SEC football team, because that also comes at a premium, the better. So I do hope that they keep a bunch of those guys for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if every single player on the Arkansas roster stayed at Arkansas right now, if all of them, we all assume they're staying, Arkansas would have a lot of work to do in the portal. They would have to go get an entire DB room. They'd have to go get a ton of D linemen, probably a linebacker or 2, receiver or 2, maybe a quarterback, maybe a running back. Like, there would be a lot of work to do. I really don't want to add to that workload by then having to replace 2 or 3 starters on the O-line. And the thing to remember is, and it also might help Arkansas keep these guys. We've learned this over the years in the transfer portal era. Big guys, stationary. They don't like to move. It's really hard to get a good quality defensive lineman who is playing at his Power 4 school to leave that Power 4 school and go to another. It is very hard to get an offensive lineman who is starting and playing at a Power 4 school to go to another. And so while that might actually work in Arkansas's favor, because I think some of these guys like a Kobe Branham, like an Amarian Harris, like a Caden Kittler, will probably think, do I really want to transfer? I don't know if I want to do that. I'm starting at an SEC school. This is a good gig for me. That needs to be the case that Arkansas is making for those guys right now. It wouldn't be the end of the world. Like, it's not the craziest thing in the world if you got to go replace your left guard, replace your right guard, whatever. Arkansas did a pretty good job of it, but there aren't a ton of examples of really good offensive lines in this day and age that are built primarily through the portal. In fact, Arkansas's this past year is one of the better examples I can remember about it. I mean, because the year before, you remember when they brought in Carmona and all these guys, Josh Braun and I can't remember, Addison Nichols. That was a O-line that was built mainly through the portal, and it was one of the worst in the SEC. So it's like, even if you go out and get guys who have experience and have started, it's really hard to build your O-line through the portal. I really hope that's not what Arkansas is shaping up to do here.
Yeah, I'm not trying to go down that route again, because you'd be talking about, like, it seems like you replace a lot of players no matter what, but the offensive line, you're talking about pretty much 3 straight years where you have a brand new offensive line. Like Carmona was there for 2 seasons. He was kind of like the guy that's stuck around, and we know how good that worked out. But I'm with you. I'm hoping that that's the case. I'm hoping that they, of course, are getting after it in recruiting, and not just recruiting, but recruiting their guys that are on the team right now. Because I'm not sitting here saying that, if the starters, you had Caden Kittler and Amarian Harris and Kobe Branham all coming back, as well as Shaq McCrory. We'll see what role he plays in. But say if you had those 4 guys coming back, then I'm going to be like, best offensive line that you could have ever had, number 1 in the SEC. But it's just going to be about a good feeling, like a good feeling going into the year, a good feeling that, hey, I don't know about these coaches. I don't know about these offensive line coaches, but I know what I'm getting with these guys. I know what I'm getting here, where it's not like, well, this guy seems to be good and he did a really good job over at, South Florida last year. So we'll see. It's like, no, we know what we're getting. And I think you don't have to do it in every roster spot, but just the offensive line of all the spots, I feel like just makes it feel so much better when you have that element to it.
Yeah, I hope that they get those guys back, and I'm with you. The one thing I will say, and I need to do some more research with this before I fully say it with my chest, but I'm going to say it with my voice right now. Probably not a whole lot of let's bring the offensive lineman from Memphis over. And listen, we're not setting the barometer at, well, they ran all over Arkansas, because who didn't last year? But I do remember going into that game, something that really struck me about Memphis was all their linemen were like 270 pounds. And I know it's just different in the American or whatever, but if we're talking about it translating up and everything, it's very, I'm not even going to use that guy's name, actually, vibes, but you guys know what I'm getting at here.
Yes.
So I don't see that, oh man, that was the best offensive lineman over there at Memphis, we just bring him over, and if they lose somebody, it's no big deal. I'm sure they got some good O-linemen over there, but I feel like every one of them need to eat a few sandwiches before they came over, if that was going to be the case, because they were a little bit thin up front.
Yeah, I think also, I'm sure some people are listening to this conversation and think that we are trying to be like, hey, Arkansas's offensive line they got in place is just this star-studded group. And it's really not even that. Like, I do think Kobe Branham, redshirt freshman starting the SEC, that's a very valuable piece you'd like to keep. Obviously, those young guys, Blake Cherry, Cash Courtney, are going to be huge for the future. Even Shaq McCroy, who's still very, very young in his development. It's not even really about those pieces and how good they are necessarily. I'm just very adamant, and I have history as my backing, that if you're going to go out there and get, offensive linemen through the portal, they're few and far between, man. Like, you'd be surprised at how few players in the portal, offensive linemen that are available in the portal for a price that your school is willing to pay, that are as good or better than Kobe Branham. Matter of fact, I think if Kobe Branham entered the portal, he would probably be one of the top 7 or 8 guards available in the entire portal. And we noticed that last year, because last year we had the same conversation where Addison Nichols enters the portal and we're like, oh, that guy sucked. Of course he entered the portal. And then he was like the number 3 center in the portal. And then Josh Braun, when he enters the portal and we're like, oh, this guy, he's horrible. Thank God we got rid of him. Well, he's like the number 7 guard at his position. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where you'd be surprised at how not green the grass is on the other side of, if you're really having to go replace some of these guys, even if you want to recruit over them, even if you look at a Marion Harris and you say, you know what, let's go get us a better right tackle. I'd still like to have a Marion Harris here just for the sake of it and have some continuity. I also think with the culture of what they're going to build here at Arkansas, obviously you're going to bring in your new players and they're going to help set that culture. But how much better would it be? How much easier would it be to at least have some of these guys that are still on the team that have been around and can kind of marry the vibes in the locker room between the old staff and the new staff, especially if you're running it back with KJ Jackson, who has some familiarity with these guys already.
Yeah, and I'll throw in this because I know we'll get to some other things too in our poll question, but you were talking about like the size and weight of the guys. The starting offensive line last year for Memphis, these are just the weights: 277, 340, 293, 270, and 315. Now, I'll just want to clarify. The 340 boy, he's a big old boy right there. I mean, that's a good size band.
Get him in here.
But the guy that's 315, he was also 6'10". So keep that into mind where it's a little bit different.
6'10"?
Yeah, he was like
Dalton
a dance.
Wagner?
Yeah, and he can't play. He's done. His name is Travis Burke. He's done. Like he's done with his eligibility. But either way, yeah, like you had some guys that were part of it. And Malachi Breland, he's the 6'5", 340 guy. He might be somebody who's like, all right, I'll take him. He'd probably fit in all right. But the point is like if you're looking at those transfers, take that into consideration. Yeah, but they did have some guys like Josiah Clemens was a true freshman for him last year. He's 6'7", 380 pounds. An offensive lineman. So
it's a large man.
I know. But doesn't mean he can play, but he is a large man. He's a large man. So we're going to continue on with this conversation. Again, we'll get to all of your chats, folks, here in just a little bit, but want to remind everybody that here on Inside Arkansas Live, we're presented by our friends over at Drain Masters of Arkansas. Nothing worse than having to deal with plumbing issues and draining issues. Nothing worse than when you get into the shower and, you've poured a bunch of Drano in there, but yet you're just standing and sitting water the entire shower because you cannot figure out how to get the draining fixed. Well, let the professionals, or in this case, let the masters of draining help you out with Drain Masters of Arkansas. Northwest Arkansas, River Valley, Oklahoma, beyond, they handle it all with professional and reliable service. And if you need to request a service, you can do so today by calling them at 479-646-5585. That's 479-646-5585. You can also scan that QR code right there on your screen and like their Facebook page at Drain Masters Inc. And anytime that you tell them that, hey, the guys of Inside Arkansas, they sent me, you get 10% off all your services. Doesn't matter if you need an entire new plumbing, entire new draining, all of the craziness that could go on with it. It's okay. You can save you some money by saying Inside Arkansas sent you and save 10% off. So everything and anything plumbing related, no job is too big or too small. Drain Masters of Arkansas has you covered. So considering the offensive line, and we know it's going to be important, we'll have time to get to that point. I did want to make this point though, because I saw somebody, I don't know if it was in the chat, I think may have been tweeted at me, but was talking about Mateos of everything. He wanted to come back. I know this for a fact. He wanted to be staying on, but they just decided to go a different direction. That's not some sort of awful, just, oh man, how dare you? Because as we talked about, if you get a new head coach, I want that head coach to get any coach or any players that they want. Because I don't want any sort of person being set up for failure where they're like, yeah, well, here's the thing. Our offensive line was terrible because they made me keep this coach I didn't really want. It's like, no, hire the guys you want, get the players you want. But yeah, wishing nothing but the best of luck to Mateos because he's gonna have plenty of offers. He's gonna have plenty of jobs. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, he is. He's gonna get a good job. He might wind up with Shane Beamer. With him, Kendall Riles, and Shane Beamer over there in South Carolina. We'll see how it goes.
Man,
I like that. I also think that, when we're talking about, because it is kind of disappointing to have to tell Eric Mateos, hey, I know you want to be here, but we don't necessarily have a spot for you. That also applies to the guy who was the O-line coach at Memphis, where it's like when your head coach, you're the O-line coach at Memphis, your head coach gets an SEC gig, you're probably thinking, oh, crap, this is my big break. I'm about to be an SEC O-line coach. So that would have been a tough conversation also to be like, hey, don't have a spot for you. There's this guy named Eric Mateos. He's here, and he's a great guy, and we're going to go get beers after this. So you're going to have to stay back in Memphis and work for Charles Huff, who, by the way, shout out Charles Huff.
Yeah. Well, also, too, as we've talked about, his Silverfield's background is as an offensive line coach. So, it's like if he would have kept on Mateos, I'm not saying it would have been a bad thing, but I'm sure that he has an idea. And it probably makes it a little bit easier to bring in somebody that he's familiar with that is on the same page as him, which, again, it's fine. But here's the whole thing, guys, because I know we'll get to the poll question. We know Razorback fans, don't we? We know Razorback fans. We know how this is going to go. The second that this offensive line maybe has a little bit of struggle or something like that early in the year next year, should have just kept Mateos. I don't know what we're doing here. The offense has any sort of problem with, getting some yardage against North Alabama, whoever they play, should have kept Bobby. I don't know what we're doing here. So that's the one thing where hopefully they don't have those struggles. Hopefully it never gets brought up. But if they ever have any sort of struggles, we know 150% that Razorback fans are just going to be like, well, should have kept this guy. That's what's going to be annoying.
That's two offensive line, quote unquote, gurus in a row. Can't block a stick.
Oh, but we love you fans. It's all good. So, but we'll ask you guys, because this is our poll question. The offensive staff seems to be settled. We're still waiting fully on the defensive staff, but offensive staff settled. And just kind of to go through it, obviously you got Silverfield as the head coach. We know that Jim Cramsey is going to be the offensive coordinator as well as quarterbacks coach. David Johnson, running back coach, the guy from Florida State. We know that they're going to be bringing in Marcus Johnson as the offensive line coach or co-offensive line coach, system, whatever that is. We know that that's going to be happening. You want to throw in the fact that you also have Jeff Myers from Memphis, who's going to be offensive line coach, thrown there into the mix. And I had him pulled up, and now I got to go back and look at it. The wide receiver coach that he brought in from Memphis. I wanted to say his name was Dennis, but I don't think that's the case. Because I'm pulling it up right now because I want to make sure I get it right. Still learning a whole lot of stuff here. But this is going to be
what I call that offensive coordinator the other day, Kramer.
Kramer, yeah.
I was like, yeah, you got Kramer calling the plays. It'll be all right.
Yeah, Kramer from Seinfeld. Larry Smith. Thank you, Larry Smith. He's going to be coming over there from Memphis, and then Morgan Turner, assuming him. So either way, saying that's the offensive line or offensive staff. Impressed? Not impressed? Indifferent? Whatever. I know we talked about the whole blown away comment, but maybe take that a little bit to the side. Just looking at it on the surface level, how do you feel?
I don't know that I'd say indifferent. I'm not impressed, but I'm not overly impressed. So, like, whatever that middle ground is, I'm not indifferent because I care, but like, if I had to lean one way, it would be, yeah, hell, you know what? I don't know. I got to be honest with you. Like, I'm not blown away by it. So,
Yeah.
Sorry about my posters falling on me in the middle of the show here.
It's okay,
my
man.
studio's falling apart, bro.
Listen,
I could see it leaning for like 4 minutes. I was like, oh no, the little chip is not working. But no, I'm
handled it
with you,
well.
Curtis, in that I'm not indifferent because these are the pigs. I bleed Razorback red. Of course I care. But I'm in that middle range where I'm definitely not like going to say I'm impressed. I'm also
Yeah.
not impressed. You know, like, I'm not like disappointed at all. For me, it goes back to the expectation of we assumed he would bring a good bit of his offensive staff from Memphis. So
True.
in terms of the OC hire, I'm not sad or happy about it. It's exactly what I thought it was going to be, and that's fine. I'll just go ahead and say this. Arkansas is not going to be top half of the league in assistant coach spending or head coach spending or just staff overall spending. And so and I know you said, John, we're not supposed to keep that in mind, all the things we heard at these press conferences. I'm gonna lean in the middle here. I'm perfectly fine with this offensive staff. I think it's adequate. I really like the David Johnson piece, and I think the recruiting side with Johnson and Smith specifically, those seem to be the two guys that are like they are counting on this staff to be the ace recruiters on the offensive side of the ball. So really, a lot of this we'll be able to have a better feel for even before they start playing games with just how these guys recruit. But I'm fairly okay with this staff. I'm fairly pleased with it. But I would say I'm in the middle of I'm not impressed or unimpressed.
Yeah, because I'm like, it's about like your initial reaction once you see a name and then you look at the quick Wikipedia page. And for just the offensive staff, I look at it and most of it's like, that makes sense. You know, it's not like one of those things of it's awful. And I'm like, who are these guys? Why did you hire this guy who has this little of experience or whatever? It's more of like, okay, I see it. You know, I see the fact that you're getting a running backs coach from Florida State and David Johnson. I see the reason why you're bringing your offensive coordinator from Memphis, considering how things went. I understand why you're doing the wide receivers coach the way. So just all these things, it's like it makes sense. You know, I'm not sitting here saying that it's the no all and all be all greatest. Again, we have to look at the defensive staff. We're just talking about offense right now because the defense has not been settled in. So maybe that'll change something. You know, maybe if you get Ed Orgeron as a D-line coach, you know, maybe that changes things in your spending ideas. But I'm just saying that looking at it from the perspective of I can see why people would say, hey, this could be all right. This could be good. But I also see why people are like, you know, well, I don't know about this. I don't know how this is going to work. My thing is, though, it's like you got guys that made sense with their SEC experience. You got guys that made sense with their recruiting backgrounds and where they're at. And you got guys that made sense bringing them over from Memphis. Like, it makes sense. It's just not going to make me change my mind. Maybe that's what the segment should be. It was like, change my mind. It's not going to change my mind on, you know, I wasn't sure about the spending on this coaching staff, but now, sheesh, now take my money. You guys need more of it. You know, it's just not going to do that for me. So,
Dude, and I've never understood why people like the other day when that Jared Curtis kid, you know, did the whole fake thing with Georgia and Vandy where he's like, I haven't talked to either school. I have no idea what everybody's talking about. It's like, dude, signing day's tomorrow. Like, you're going to sign with a school and it's going to be one of them. Go ahead and tell us who it is. Like, you don't have to BS us. I don't know why Hunter would give us such a clear, hey, you're going to find out how much money we're spending with the staff hires. It's like, dude, you're going to hire the staff this weekend. Like, we're going to find out, and now we're going to be able to turn back to it. So to your point, John, like, this, if this was supposed to sell me that Arkansas has now upped their spending in a big way, it did not. So if I'm judging it on that criteria, I would be more inclined to say it's a failure. Now, I have a brain, and I knew Hunter was lying when he said that, but like, if that's the criteria we want to judge it on, then this is a failure. But it's not an actual criteria because he was lying when he said it, and we knew he was lying. So in all, it's a fine staff, but it's like, this is a dangerous game to start playing of like continuing to be like, hey, you're going to love this, and then handing Arkansas fans a $9 steak.
Yeah. Well, I will say it's like, to your point, I think fans, what they say and how they say it and trying to hype everything up, I get. Like, I understand the hype and the energy and maybe going over the top, but just given the circumstances, it's like, hey, everybody's going to hang on every word, you know, because they're looking for reasons to be excited and reasons for it to go the way it's going to go. But considering the offensive staff and if it's been put together, Alumni Hall question of the day today was just how impressed are you with Ryan Silverfield's offensive coaching staff that he's reportedly assembled? Are you impressed, not impressed, or indifferent? And it's presented by our friends over at Alumni Hall. It's the ultimate Razorback shopping experience for all Razorback apparel. They are the place to go. And we know Christmas is around the corner here in just a few weeks, and you need to get some of those great gifts. Well, there's no better gifts that you can get for some of the nicest Razorback apparel you could ask for. We're talking about Southern Tide, talking about Johnny O, talking about Columbia, each and everything you could want for men, women, and kids. They have it at Alumni Hall. So you can check them out at 3417 North College Avenue and use that promo code HOGSBY20 to get 20% off your purchase, or you can shop them online, have it delivered straight to your door or as a gift to somebody's door at InsideArkansas.com/Alumni Hall. It's Alumni Hall, the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. And guys, the question leading the way at 58%, indifferent is how people feel. They don't impress, not unimpressed. But also second in that is 29% saying they are impressed, with 14% saying not impressed. So to kind of give you an idea of just the offensive staff and where it stands.
Like, where would we put a grade on this? I saw somebody in the chat just a minute ago that was like, so C- if we were grading these. I would probably go higher than that, maybe C+. Yeah. And it could turn out to be better. We don't really know, but in terms of like, I don't know, shock and awe value or whatever, that's probably about where I'm at, which would make sense because that's kind of right on that border of meh versus okay, not too bad.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Like for me personally, I kind of go like higher by higher. Like the David Johnson hire as a running back coach, I think that's like close to like an A. Like I think that might be like a B+ type of hire. But like your offensive coordinator, Cramsey, coming over from Memphis, like we all agree that's an adequate move because we just expected it. Hey, yeah, it makes sense. You're going to bring at least one coordinator, but it's like if we're grading that higher, just in a nutshell, it's not a very high grade. That would probably be like a C- grade.
Yeah, I would probably put it at best, a B- at best, but probably be, C+. Just because again, it's like. It makes sense. That's what I'm trying to like portray is like, to me, it makes sense. It's not that it's bad. It's not that it's trash. It's just, it makes sense. So yeah, if he would have gone in there and, hired an offensive coordinator that he has no connections with and has no idea of what they are. And, because I know we remember Sam Pittman when he hired his staff, he didn't really have any connections to Kendall Briles, like as far as that went, but when he hired him, I think everyone was on board. It's like, okay, hey, this is a solid hire with and everything. Same with Barry Odom, kind of the same deal, but it's a different circumstance. You have a guy that's been a head coach before, coming from a place where their offense was really successful, statistically speaking, at least. And so, yeah, you kind of feel like there's going to be some ones added into it. But
you know what those hires you just referenced did? The Kendall Briles and Barry Odom hires, they changed the way we viewed the tenure right off the bat. Like we immediately were like, oh, this is what they're doing? Okay, this kind of makes sense. This is not that. And not in a bad way, but this, to your point, it makes sense. Doesn't change the way we feel about anything. In fact, and like I'm actually kind of stunned by how little reaction there has been, period. It's just like these are just hires that like when Zenith tweets them out, everyone's just like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Would we say that the best coaching staff hires were Brett Bielema? Because I mean, Sam Pittman's were pretty good, all things considered. But Bielema,
Sam had some good ones for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I mean, Brett Bielema had Sam Pittman hired. The Jim Chaney one, maybe not. Yeah, great hire. But you think about, and I'm going to have to look back. His name just escaped me. He was the offensive line coach. Ended up getting the job at FAU.
Partridge, Charlie Partridge.
D-line coach. Yeah, you're right. Partridge, thank you. You had Randy Shannon at linebacker coach, which I thought was pretty good. Chris Ash was the defensive coordinator and D-backs coach. I mean, you had
Bielema got lucky because he had Rob Smith as a DC hire is a completely mid C- hiring that turned out to work out for a year or two there, and then your OC was Dan Enos, who, as we know, isn't a great hire. But it worked out for a year or two. So Bielema kind of had some luck that bounced his way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. But he also had Joel Thomas. That was the guy that coached as running backs, but he was in the NFL forever. Taver Johnson, secondary coach. But anyways, the point is that, we've seen some good hires before as a staff goes. So But either way, we'll see how it plays out, folks. I know there's a lot to get to with the transfer portal, which January is going to be chaos, not only for SEC basketball, obvious reasons, but transfer portal opens up and we'll get to see, because as far as I know, guys, I haven't seen any other, I try to keep up with it, but I haven't seen any other guys announce anything that's currently on Arkansas staff as far as intentions to enter the transfer portal. Have you guys heard anything or seen anything that I haven't?
Don't think so.
Okay.
Just Keyshawn Davila after the season ended. He was like the one guy that like said he was leaving. But yeah, I bet some of those will come in the later weeks.
Yeah, I think so too. So
no point announcing it right now, right? It's like I'm out of here in 3 weeks.
They finish school, you know what I mean? Like everybody's gone for the holidays, and then they won't feel weird because they're on campus with their boys or whatever. We'll probably see some people tweet it out after this weekend, I bet.
Christmas dinner, feeling a little heat check, and it's just like, you know what, I'm out.
Outie.
Yep.
Christmas Eve announcement.
Oh, so you don't do that. Crutchfield, still gonna not forgive you for that, but that was on Christmas. So yeah, if you're gonna do it, don't do it on Christmas Day. Like y'all
remember Anthony Brown, the safety?
Mm-hmm.
He committed to Arkansas out of high school on Thanksgiving Day. And I remember every time he would get into a game and make any type of mistake whatsoever, I would remember that. I'm like, if you're going to commit on Thanksgiving, you better be freaking Deion Sanders. Come on.
Mm-hmm. Or there better been a good reason why. Like it had to be on that day. So, but we'll get to your chats, talk a little basketball too, folks. We want to remind everybody that Hickey and Hole Law is our official law firm here at Inside Arkansas, because we know divorce and custody cases are extremely important, and you never want to face them alone, especially in this day and age when there's so much paperwork, there's so many ins and outs. You want to make sure you're protected. You want to make sure that your kids are protected. You want to make sure that everything is going according to plan. And so let the pros, let the best in the business do it with Hickey and Hole Law, because they understand how crucial it is to your life and how they have to keep you updated on all the cases, and that they are available to provide any advice and counsel throughout the entire process. And they will take time to meet with all their clients, respond to all those emails, and always return your calls, which in this day and age also is a very important thing. So have Hickey and Hole help you out. They have offices across the entire state of Arkansas in Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Little Rock, and Mena. You can call them today at 479-434-2414. That's 479-434-2414. Or you can check out their website, hickeyandhole.com. Scan that QR code right there on your screen. It's Hickey and Hole Law. Things are about to get better. So we'll get to chat, but also some Razorback basketball. We know took care of business there against Fresno State in North Little Rock. And now, as you mentioned, Curtis, moving up in the ranks, said 17th in the AP poll. So good to see that. And I think maybe the biggest award, guys, the biggest accomplishment that Arkansas had from over the weekend is that the Field of 68 named him their biggest riser. So, I mean, that's what it is.
They have him at like 10?
They had him 10. Yeah. Holy cow, Jeff Goodman, man.
Just don't do Kool-Aid. Just don't do 8. No 8s. We don't like 8s. But hey, listen, they got the big test this Saturday, which we're going to be at there, Texas Tech in Dallas at the American Airlines Center. So be another one. But man, the way things are going, if they win that one, boys, I think we're all the way back. We're all the way back.
If they win that one.
Yeah. We got to say it loud and proud here. That's going to be a lot of fun, man. That's a big time game. It's a grudge match. I mean, say what you want, and I know Cal will downplay it. I even remember him saying like he didn't want to schedule this game because he didn't want those guys talking about it or whatever, but they wanted a game and they wanted one there, so that was open and he took it. For Billy, for DJ, for Carter, for TB, there will be a chip on the shoulder for this game. I guarantee you. And it's going to be a lot of fun. You know, Texas Tech's really good. They're not as good as they were last year. They've looked vulnerable. I will say this, though. I don't know if y'all got to check it out at all yesterday. They fraud checked the heck out of LSU. Big undefeated LSU, and they were like top 20 in the net and everything, and they beat the brakes off of them boys. So it's going to be a big-time matchup. Hopefully Arkansas has better success with JT Toppin than they did Cam Boozer, but I'm really looking forward to it. And shout out to the Hogs, man. It was a hell of a week. Couple nice wins there. They debuted a week ago. The net rankings dropped and they were at 45, and you wake up today, they're 23. That's a good week's worth of improvement there for the Razorbacks.
Curtis, I was fully prepared to do the whole bit of like, well, Texas Tech, they're coming off of a thunderous, emphatic win over an undefeated SEC team. So that's quite the statement. That's how I'm going to build this matchup. But no, there's nothing better in sports. The best way to be good in sports is to not do stupid stuff. And Arkansas get a prime example of this. I mean, one, you win a Louisville game. That's actually doing something cool. But it's like, all you do is just like, don't slip on the banana peel Saturday. You move up in the net. You move up in Kimpom. You move up in Torvik. You move up 8 spots in the AP poll. You move up 100 spots in the Jeff Goodman poll. Like, that's good stuff. All you got to do in sports is let your opponents make mistakes, and you can do a lot of great things.
I see. All right. Well, while we're talking, can we do this real quick while we're talking basketball? Because I see our friend Katz is in here. He's like, go ahead, Curtis, throw a jab at Kentucky. You know you want to. I'm here for it. Listen, man, I did that this morning with the SEC power rankings. I had Kentucky 15th, in case people were wondering. But my God, what's going on over there? Here's what's interesting to me, because I know you guys have seen it too, and it's stuck in my algorithm. It is what it is. But getting so many of the who won the divorce, you know, John Calipari or Kentucky, and look at the records between him and Pope since they left, whatever. There is no question at this point who's winning that divorce. I mean, Cal won the head-to-head. He went back to Rupp and took over, and they made it equally as far in the NCAA tournament, and one team is falling apart and one team's balling out right now. It's easy enough.
But Curtis, they have the same exact record, okay? So there's no different. They're the same. Everybody, they're both winning. It's fine. They have the same exact record.
Yeah, that's what they say. That's what they say. By the way, Katz, I have Kentucky ahead of Mississippi State, who might be the worst power conference team in the country.
What happened to Mississippi State, dude? I did not realize. Like, I remember when there was a point in time where we were like kind of about to have to talk ourselves into Chris Jans, and I certainly wasn't going to be excited about it. But like, I thought Jans was at least a good coach.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, there's one thing that you would always know about a Chris Jans team and a Mississippi State team: they were going to be mid in every way. Middle of the pack in the SEC. They'd be in the 8-9 game in the NCAA tournament every single year, and that's just not a thing. They're the only SEC school with a losing record, and they got beat by San Francisco yesterday.
Listen, Bernardo Sidney's not walking through that door, boys. Like,
No.
you're just or what was
Reggie
the
Perry's out of there.
Reggie Perry? Was it Fernando or was that Vanderbilt? I always get him mixed up.
No, you're right. Jarvis Fernando.
Fernando. He was at Mississippi State.
Yeah, Mississippi State was the king there for about 15, 20 years of just like decently solid SEC caliber players randomly.
Just a decent power forward that would average 12 points a game on a team that would win games 59-56. That's what Mississippi State had for like a long time.
Tolu Smith played for 10 years. Yeah, it's
it's something. But listen, I'm not gonna sit here and stomp on the grave or be enjoying. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's like, hey, I mean, Arkansas could lose in the first round of the tournament, right? But at least they're gonna make it to the tournament, unlike some other teams out there. So they got to get to that point. However, listen, I will say this, because I know we'll talk, because I have part of it for best and worst of the weekend, which I know we'll get to, as well as a recruiting update with Dudley. But I'm still friends with a lot of those KSR guys, and I was texting a few of them, and the booing off the court was wild. Like, listen, we all see teams that like Arkansas got booed off the field in football at halftime against Notre Dame, and it was like, okay, this is the end, and everyone knew it was the end. But when Kentucky got mercilessly booed off the court by their own fan base, which was like 98% Kentucky fans at that place in Nashville, that was really telling. And that is something where it's like, all right, how are you going to respond to that? How do you deal with that? That was insane.
Yeah. And one thing I'll say about our BBN friends, they do know ball. It's a very passionate fan base. And I felt, when we were in Lexington, they really keep up with it, and they understand the game. Now they're jaded for their team and everything, just like we are. And there's some crazies out there, sure. But, and that's where I think a lot of them were ticked off about. Like, it's one thing to lose, but when you're just kind of lifeless and you don't make a basket for 10 minutes at home and you lose to that UNC team, people aren't crazy about that. But it was like the body language, the lack of effort. They look like a bunch of guys who just don't like each other out there. Like, that was a complete mess. And yeah, they were absolutely letting them boys have it in Nashville. That was crazy. And it's wild too, because that was a home game for them. Like, it was 90% Kentucky fans in that building, and they just got curb stomped over there. It was crazy. Looked like they didn't even belong on the floor.
Well, it's another case of how setting expectations is everything in life. Like, we spent the entire time talking about Arkansas's offensive coaching staff, and we couldn't escape the fact that we had set the expectations so high. And that was how we were judging it, is, hey, This is what we thought would happen. This is what we expected. This is what we got. And that's how you evaluate stuff. Everyone is very loud when setting expectations. Oh, we're going to win by 100 this week. Oh, we're going to go undefeated. Oh, we're going to do this, this, and that. And it's like, that's perfectly fine. You're allowed to set that expectation there, but you have to know what that means if you are setting the expectation there. And I think Kentucky fans are kind of finding out in real time. It's like, if you're going to tell us you've got a $22 million roster and you really think that like Mark Pope has figured out college basketball, like, hey, you're well within your rights to feel that way, but then don't get mad at us when we hold you to that standard.
Yeah, exactly. And I know we'll get to the chats, but I want to also throw into the mix of, hey, let's be humble, because last year it was like a complete role reversal where Kentucky fans were flying high with their thing, and then Arkansas was down in the dumps. We saw what happened. So you can take some fun shots at it of the current, but just remember, like there's a lot of this going on. It does crack me up though. I think maybe all the KSR guys were saying like, this has been the worst 6-year stretch in Kentucky basketball history. And I'm like, yeah, that's, I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, but that really puts things into perspective of like, man, you guys are, I mean, if this is the worst, you don't know what bad is. You don't know what bad is. So yeah, I can't imagine only making one Sweet 16 in 6 years and only having a 2 seed and a 3 seed and a 4 seed in 6 years. You know, I just couldn't imagine how terrible that must be. So, but either way, we'll get to your chats, folks. But want to remind everybody, Blue Ember Smokehouse is the place when it comes to all of your catering for all of your events. And we really enjoy doing our live show there last Wednesday. And as a reminder, we'll always be live at Blue Ember the first Wednesday of each and every month, talking about the great smokehouse and handcrafted barbecue that they have going on over there. Tender brisket, home cooked sides. They have a hearty meal for every member of the family. And they're also taking in all the to-go orders and all the takeout orders or all the catered orders when it comes to your Christmas holiday. They did it for Thanksgiving. Ton of people went into that. They're also going to be doing it, of course, during the Christmas holiday as well. So if you want that whole turkey that feeds 18 to 20, whole ham that feeds 18 to 20, $70 for the turkey, $65 for the ham. They take care of business. You put in your order, you come pick it up and get it there going right in time for the holiday season. And also, too, we're going to be giving away 2 more $100 gift cards to Blue Ember Smokehouse this week. And it's going to be done from a drawing. So we'll have some details on that coming up here today, this afternoon, where all you do is just you go to our website and you'll enter in your name and we'll do the drawing on Friday and you'll have a chance to win it. So keep up to date on that. But don't forget, they have 6 different locations across the state of Arkansas: Fort Smith, Jonesboro, Texarkana, Little Rock, Hot Springs, and Rogers. So call any of those numbers to have your catered events and also for your Christmas holiday. Thank you for supporting your local Blue Ember Smokehouse. All right, guys. So getting into the chats, which I'm sure are going to be really great and really fun to dive into. But super chats get read first. That's just how we do it. That's how the rules are. But shout out to Cat John Nice. It's been a while since I've heard from Cat John Nice. But says, sorry, but Silverfield did not win that press conference. Also seemed Hunter possibly drunk, like when he's on TV. So it's like, great. All right.
Well, if his competition was Hunter Yurachek, not only did he win it, he won it by knockout. But I can see how you would say in the grand scheme, I wouldn't say he necessarily for sure definitively won, but he definitely didn't lose the press conference. Like the press conference from Silverfield specifically, I'm trying to think if there was anything that I really didn't love other than maybe that you're going to be blown away by the staff thing. That's literally the one thing we've harped on and run into the ground. But I thought Silverfield did a good job during the press conferences.
I did too, because like at this point with a lot of Arkansas fans, talk is cheap anyway. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't really matter what you say. It's how you back it up. And so the jury's still out on that. But yeah, I didn't really feel like he said anything that was super alarming or whatever. He was able to pull off the Quincy Rhodes, KJ Jackson thing right up there, which was cool. And there's always going to be a level of coach speak for these types of things. I mean, what else is he supposed to do, really? So yeah, I thought he did great. Like I wasn't ready to run through a brick wall or anything when that happened. John, you good, buddy?
Yeah, sorry. I'm just
okay.
I'm just sorry. Go ahead. Just I slept wrong on. It's like I slept wrong on my face, and my jaw is killing me, and so I'm having to like stretch it out. My bad.
You're doing the
bad.
Thing.
Yeah,
I know. Sometimes I'm the random face guy, and I was like, oh, "Is he good?" So,
yeah. I'm having a stroke over here. No big deal.
Yeah, but that's all I had really. I think he's done fine there, and it's not the type of rah-rah. He wasn't screaming into the microphone to fire you up and everything, but I didn't really have any issues with anything that he said.
Well, since today's theme is setting expectations, we literally almost protested when he got hired. So that context is important.
Yes.
Like the fact that we're even like having any type of positive feeling about Ryan Silverfield at all whatsoever is a testament to like the job I think he and his staff have done so far at like winning public perception, which is the goal of the press conference. So in that standard, I am inclined to say that's a slight dub.
Yeah, and I think that is. And if you're still unsure, that's fine. But anybody that's looked at the like press conferences and all of that and just sits there and be like, I don't agree with any of this. It's like you feel like you're just already, there's nothing that'll please you. Like he could have hired some great assistant coaches that were like next level names, and you'd be like, didn't do anything for me. It's like, just okay, that's fine. But just try to at least look at it in the microcosm of the individual things that happen and say if it's good or bad. That's fine. That's okay to do.
Hey, did y'all real quick? Did y'all see that YouTube video that I got tagged in this morning that I was included in about Ryan Silverfield? There was this 2-minute YouTube video, and it was like it might have been AI generated, I guess, but it was like somebody foreign, like had an accent. And it was like, Arkansas has hired head coach Ryan Silverfield, and it was like his Wikipedia bio and everything. And then towards the end of it, it got to this section. It was like, he has been criticized for a 20-29 record against like whatever competition. And then it just randomly pulled up a picture, my Twitter profile picture, which is my wife giving me a kiss on the cheek. It's like I'm just randomly in it with this whole like Ryan Silverfield biography. Somebody tagged me in today, and I was like, what the hell is this? I'll share it with you guys. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen, but it got me thinking about like the press conference and everything. And I was like, what?
I'm glad that happened to you, because I'm tired of that crap happening to me. So I'm glad that something weird happened to you when it comes to you being tagged in something.
It was crazy, man. Yeah, it threw my morning off completely. I was at the vet and I got tagged in, and I pull it up. I'm like, what? I don't even know what this is. This is wild. But to the Eurocheck aspect of that, I'm with you, Andrew. Like if your barometer, like if you're competing against him to win a press conference, you're probably going to do fine. Our man was squirming yesterday. I know we'll probably talk about the CFP stuff, but Reese was here. If you don't call him by the right name one time, he will grill you, man. And he was drilling Hunter with that stuff. Credit to Eurocheck for like standing in there in the pocket and and taking the hits, but that was I was uncomfortable watching that the whole time. That was wild.
How about Saban just doing the thing on game day where he's like, is this guy going to answer a question? Why does he never answer questions? I don't know if Nick Saban's been reading my tweets or not, but I'm glad that other people are starting to catch on to where it's like you could literally ask him what time it is, and he will give you a vague, well, we're going to make a commitment to identifying the hands on the clock and what they mean, and we're going to have more clarity on this situation soon. It's like, what the hell are you saying, dude? Just say words that mean something. What the heck?
Yeah. My favorite thing too is, again, we'll talk about it, but there's a conspiracy going around that because Notre Dame beat the crap out of Arkansas, that's why Yurchek had it like an inside job to like get Notre Dame out of the playoff and all this. I'm like, I don't think that's happening. It's like somebody tweeted, I don't remember because somebody sent it to me and they were like, I don't think he cares about us that much. It's like kind of like an Arkansas fan. He's like, I don't think he cares about that type of thing, but I'm here for conspiracies. But we'll talk about the college football playoff because it is pretty wild. Some more super chats here. Appreciate it. Casey says, hopefully Ole Miss players hit the portal come to Arkansas since LSU is a permanent opponent on our schedule and they can get revenge on Kiffin. Well, LSU and Ole Miss are playing each other next year in Oxford. So I'm sure that there's that. But yeah, I mean, there's some Ole Miss players I would take. I don't know if I'd take the ones that left here originally.
You don't want to know?
Nah. Coot had his chance. He had his opportunities.
Judas Kudus is not walking.
Did Luke Has wind up playing at all?
I think he did play a little bit. I don't think he had like a groundbreaking year by any means.
No. I'd take Jalen Braxton back. Just saying.
It's our boy, yeah.
I'd take Braxton back. It'd be tough, but I'd do it.
Yeah.
As long as he cut ties with his family, I'd be down with it.
as long as he murders his family, he's good to go.
Hey, he doesn't have to murder him; just does not have to bring his family with him.
Yeah, I know.
There's a few Arkansas players that should probably look in their inner circle and cut ties with some of them.
Yeah, we don't want anyone coming after. We don't want the parents coming after us. That's always a bad move. But Sharkasaw, appreciate it. Says, how many Texas Tech players are paying alimony to their first wives? Just curious, because this seems to be the guys keeping Cal up at night. Shout out to Cal, because I remember we did the post game. I almost like tuned out because the press conference was weird, and I tuned out during because he started going on about the, hey, there's old guys with beards. I'm like, okay, I've heard this crap before. And I just completely missed the comment about the alimony, and I'm really mad at myself. But they played that on SportsCenter this morning still. Like, quite the comment from Cal, man. That was awesome.
The man has gone mega viral for that one. That was hilarious. We need to be able to use that for like a Hickey and Hole soundbite. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Got to use your NIL to pay alimony. Call Hickey and Hole. They'll help you through the process.
You think JT Toppin used that in his negotiations to come back? He's like, listen, not only am I going to need a bag because I'm one of the best players in the country, but got some alimony checks. Like, come on. Oh yeah.
It's such a great quote that even Mrs. Calipari was like the first time she posted on Instagram that wasn't him taking out the trash, was like she put up the quote and she was just laughing about it. I was like, man, that was a great one. That was a great one. So shout out to Cal, man. His Calisms that never cease to amaze me and how awesome they are.
I've never seen someone who just continues to allow the fish to get bigger every time he tells the tale.
Yep.
Pretty soon Arkansas is going to be playing 60-year-olds out there. It's wild.
Yeah. So or something about like, my grandfather, they're playing him now. It's just he's going to start getting more specific. Which, by the way, real quick, is there one like quick Calism that you guys will just say in your head and laugh, or like just something that you always think about and want to say? A Calism while he's been at Arkansas.
Separation.
Billy.
Yeah.
Separation.
Yeah. You know about
separation. Did y'all see? Yeah, I'm sure y'all saw Stu Hogg's little like 2.5 minute Cal out of context thing. I mean, those are always great. I made everyone in my family watch that.
Yeah. I absolutely love the when he called out the media the other day and he was like, I knew it. You guys were eating a sandwich or something. When we worked at Lindenwood, you know how it is when you're balling on a budget or whatever, and you go on the team trips and like in between baseball games, it's like, hey, bologna on bread, man. I don't know what to tell you. That's just what you have. And I just remember after a loss one game and coach was ticked off or whatever, and he was yelling at the guys in the dugout and everything. He was like, you guys are useless. It's like, I need what good are you? You're just a bunch of sandwich eaters. And I just thought that was so funny. And to hear Cal call everybody sandwich eaters, I'm like, oh yeah, that's my guy right there.
Yeah. But it's never just one randomly. He like just will have a whole press conference full of them. Like the one, I forgot which game it was, because this one I think of no bounce passes to the post. Like just like, and he's like, instead of some crazy pass, like doing that, I'm like, he just keeps going and all of that. Why are you shooting threes? Just
get fouled. I think about get fouled a lot.
Yeah. So he's teeing off on people Saturday, man. It was hilarious. Malik Thomas just for no reason threw that one lob. It was like 4 Fresno State guys standing in the paint. And he threw it. Then he made the play or whatever. And Cal took him out and he was like, why would you throw that? Just going off, man. Funny guy.
No, we need to, honestly, that's what Arkansas should charge a premium for with their seating at Bud Walton Arena. The closer you are to Cal, because that alone is worth the entertainment of hearing him yell things during the games. It's great. Let's see. Shout out to our guy Quinn been a member for months. Says, how do y'all feel about not retaining the O-line coach, and how's the chat feel about it? Well, we talked about it. But I mean, this was earlier in the show, but yeah, appreciate it, Quinn.
Yeah,
for being a member.
Quinn, I saw I got a few messages from Quinn this morning that I need to check on Twitter. I imagine it's in response to my my SEC power rankings. Well, I still got Auburn up there decently, but Quinn usually gives me good feedback.
Did you bump them down at all?
Just one spot. I moved Arkansas. I had Arkansas at 6, but I moved them to 3rd, and I've got Auburn at 4th. Right there. But they beat NC State, but they got blasted by Arizona, so yeah, it is what it is. But the SEC might suck. Because I was going through them and like 1 through 7, I was like, oh, yep, this makes sense. Okay, feel great about this. Once I got past 7, I was like, oh, wait, all these teams are bad. Literally all of them lost, or they lost 2 games. I just didn't even know what to do with them. It's terrible.
Well, when I saw that, like John Rothstein, I think is the one that was like, had that video clip or whatever, that like Arkansas is the most built, or however he put it, like the team in the SEC. I'm like, all right, John, let's just relax for a second. And then I looked at it, I was like, Actually, it might be true. Like this is not like you got Bama and Tennessee, Auburn, Arkansas, Vanderbilt's ranked 15th. So it's like those are, I guess, the 5. And Florida's still ranked at 18th. So you got 6 of the 16 still ranked.
Florida has 7 losses. How are the hell are they still ranked?
Yeah, not totally sure.
They lose literally every single week. They lose a game on national television. I tune on ESPN2 and I see Florida lose.
Yeah, which
Same
I know
for Purdue. They have 5 losses, but they're still ranked number 1.
Well, I was just a little surprised. No offense, Quinn, that Auburn, I know they beat NC State, but they dropped 1 spot in the AP poll after getting 30-pieced by Arizona. Like, I know Arizona's number 1 and all that, but I was like, just to drop 1 spot? It's crazy. So,
hey, are you looking at that AP poll right now, by the way?
Yeah.
Where's Tennessee?
Well, hold on a second because it's stupid. Sorry. I did have it pulled up, but then it just, like, you ever get that little pinwheel of death? Yeah.
Curtis, I texted you about this the other day. Am I correct in assuming that what I read is correct, that Nate Ament has 1 singular dunk this season? He is 6'10", and he has dunked once, and he missed a dunk the other day that was uncontested. Darius Acuff has like 4 dunks this year, and he's a 6'2" point guard. No disrespect. Like, Nate Ament's a good player. I'm sure he's going to be a nice top 15 pick or whatever. He strikes me as a little bit of a poor man's Jabari Smith, if I'm being 100% honest with you.
I think you might be onto something there. But yeah, you're right. They even said that during the Illinois broadcast that he's got 1 dunk.
Dude, DJ Wagner's got like a dunk or 2.
Yeah, at least 2, I feel like.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so sorry. I got the AP poll pulled up. What were you asking about?
Tennessee.
They dropped 7. They dropped 7 spots to 20th.
Okay, good. Because I was trying to predict it on the pod this morning. I was like, okay, they were at 13th and Arkansas is at 25th, but I think Arkansas could pass them, and they did. So,
well, the biggest movement, jumping or falling, was Arkansas. They jumped 8 spots, so it's the largest jump of any team. Iowa State jumped 6 spots up to number 4,
and they look good.
Yeah, because and then Purdue dropped 5 to 6 spots, so they're right there in the mix. Louisville dropped 5 spots after the loss to Arkansas. So they must have.
There you go.
Not felt bad. Anyways,
Darius Acuff, SEC Freshman of the Week.
Official?
Oh wow, that's huge.
I trust my man Jackson Fuller. He don't put out fake news.
Yep. Oh, there it is. Well, no, that's the poll thing. So I'm sure the SID there for basketball will have something out there for really quickly. But yeah. So that's great. But hey, listen, when you're out there and what was it, 8 assists and only 1 turnover, and the turnover's at the very end.
Yeah.
I mean. Killed it.
He's got 18 assists the last 2 games.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's incredible. Love it. A few more chats here because I know we'll do best and worst of the week and also get into our recruiting update there too. Hunter says, Curtis, say we went out in non-con. What do you think will be ranked? I know other teams winning or losing is a factor, but what's your best guess?
Top 10.
I'm calling it 5.
They've moved up so much now. So they're 17 in the AP poll. They're 23 or whatever in the net. And I mean, you got the 2 bye games that you should win, JMU and Queens. But I mean, if you beat Texas Tech and you beat Houston on neutrals, I mean, you're going to have a hard time finding 3 better wins than that in the country. They wouldn't have any bad losses. I mean, they will be up there if they were able to get that done. And it's not crazy. I hope they split at least those 2 games, but it's not crazy to think that they could get them both. So we'll see.
I'd love to beat Houston, really. But man, it would be nice just to kind of get a little bit of the revenge from last year's Texas Tech game this weekend.
Bad. We're going there together too. We need that one.
Yeah, and I think the Hog fans will really show. I'm not saying that there won't be any in Newark, but I mean, there'll be a ton of fans down there in the Dallas. I don't know. I'm sure there'll be a lot of Texas Tech fans too. So it's going to get spicy. Of course, I was thinking about it. We were talking about the altercations that happened. It was like just part of it, man. I think every player's gotten into some, whether it's Nick Pringle, Brazil, you got Carter Knox, Billy Richmond over here. It's like, man, who's never going to be DJ Wagner. I feel like if there's one person I know that's not going to get in any sort of scuffle, it's DJ.
And as a matter of fact, I know that DJ Wagner got in it was like a viral fist fight at Peach Jam or
yes,
something in high school.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah, he got into a brawl, but you're right. Yeah, he's not that guy. To get into trouble there.
DJ is too handsome a gentleman to be throwing fists, Like if you're on a basketball team, you got to at least keep your most handsome gentleman off the side, you know what I mean? Like we have other guys to handle this, Nick Pringle, this is your job here. Step in.
Pringle, Elmer. Get out
Yeah,
there.
Hilmer, get in there, buddy. But no, one thing that is important to remember is that if you were going to pick a game to lose, it needs to be Houston 10 times out of 10. It's going to be the easiest loss to recover from, one, because Houston's good and there's no shame in losing to it, but it's December 20th or December 21st. You go right into the holiday season, literally, and then you play an SEC game right after. Nobody is going to remember that Houston game. But the Texas Tech game, you lose in Dallas in front of 10,000 Razorback fans, we will remember that one. So go ahead and lose the Houston game. We won't even remember. We'll just go right into opening presents.
You're right. This is a very important question from David. He says, who would you rather fight, Billy or Pringle? And we can't say neither. I got to be honest with you guys. I'm going Pringle.
Me too.
Because I've seen him show restraint. I am confident that he would maybe not kill me. You know, he'd just be like, all right, like I've made my point here. Billy, you set him off. Neither would end well, but I feel like Pringle would let up earlier.
I feel like with those two, I would also go with Pringle, only because I feel like Pringle, if he's going to like punch you, it's just going to be a solid, try to do a right hook. Like, I feel like Billy, like he may find a way to punch you like in your back into your kidney somehow. Like just where you just don't, he's so unpredictable. You have no idea where it's going to come from. And whatever it is, it's just going to put you out for the count and maybe even cause some internal damage. So I would be also going with a Nick.
I like what Pringle did to that kid from Winthrop, where he like kind of gently laid him on the ground.
Yeah.
Which just kind of shows you there, like you said, there is some restraint there. Yeah. I think if you're trying to do the like, hey, come on, this is all a big misunderstanding, I think that conversation would go over better with Pringle than it would with Richmond.
Yeah,
I think so.
I do too. A few more chats here too. Really appreciate Lane. Appreciate the super chat. He goes, my birthday wish today is simple. Happy birthday, by the way, Lane. Appreciate you, man. Just a national title from either basketball or baseball team this year. Not too much to ask, right? Wow.
Not too much to ask.
That's a very reasonable request. You might not get it, but that's a reasonable request.
Why not football? Or why don't you mention that one?
He's trying to stay within the realm of possibilities here.
Yeah, I know. Well, you want the ones that are set up financially to win a championship. Which is baseball and basketball.
Arkansas is going to be next year's Vanderbilt. Just had that argument that they should have got in, and
guys, we're about to watch Joe Craddock call plays in the college football playoff. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't achieve your dreams.
That's right. Well, I will say, I thought about it. If you ever got to the championship, like if Arkansas basketball championship, say if they're in Indianapolis, like, we always try to have some game plans for things, like trips and whatnot. I feel like that one, we're not going to have a game plan if Arkansas wins a national championship for that live stream. No game plan. Just go live and whatever happens.
Yeah.
Just what's going to happen.
A lot of foul things are going to be said on that stream.
Oh my gosh, man.
Oh, man. Yeah. You're going to have to like truly open up phone lines and just let people talk. So we have a Twitter space. Yeah.
We'll be taking celebration shots. We'll just have Cameron answering the phones and
just have the interns doing things. We'll just be having a good time.
Chats.
Shout out to Quinn. He says it was complimenting you on the not overreacting to the Auburn Arizona game.
Oh, good. So, okay. Very good. I like that.
And then
Arizona's they're really good. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw any highlights of that game or whatever. We talked about this a while back. Arizona's court, like their new design on their court, beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And real quick, before we do best worst of the weekend, also Arkansas says Nate Amon is Ben Simmons part 2.
I'm guessing. I'm trying to think. So I'm guessing this is just going to be a top prospect that misses the NCAA tournament, maybe. Because I got to be honest, I don't know if there are any characteristics that Nate Amon and Ben Simmons share together, other than like height, maybe. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be pretty much it. It'd feel like. So.
That's the only thing Ben Simmons could do was dunk, and it seems to be the only thing that Nate Amon can't do.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, so going into our best and worst of the week, and presented by our friends over at SARACEN. It's the #1 sports betting app in the state of Arkansas. It's not even close. It is best of the best. And what's great about it is that when you bet with SARACEN, for you new users out there, if you click our link below or scan that QR code, you'll be able to get a great deal where you bet $25 and you get $125. Yep, that's still going on. It's the no strings attached promo. And all you do, again, download the app by clicking the link below, scanning that QR code. And when you download it, use that code INSIDE-AR. INSIDE-AR, when you use that code, you'll get that great deal of bet $25. $125 is what you'll receive. And Our code is being used more than any other code with BetSaracen, which we love hearing that. We love and appreciate all of y'all's support, because when you support our sponsors, you support us too. So we really appreciate it. So keep up the good work with that, but get to winning big with all the great, college football playoff, NFL games, college basketball, all this great stuff. It's with BetSaracen, Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. All right. So best worst of the weekend, guys, because then we'll have recruiting update and get to some more chats. Best of the weekend for me was just having the conference championship games in football. I think that was a lot of fun, just because I don't want to see that go by the wayside. And I know the worst. I'm sure we'll talk more about the playoffs and bowls and all that. But I still like the fact that the conference championships still have a lot of, you had good teams going up against each other. Very meaningful things that, mean a lot to them. You have rematches going on. You see like a team like Duke, who's like 7-5, winning the ACC and whatnot. It's like just stuff like that just really makes it fun. And I know people may hate it because of the results, which again, I know we'll talk about, but I've always enjoyed conference championships. Maybe it's because my team's never involved in them, but it certainly seems like this was a great weekend for kind of a send off to the things that weren't chaos, because now it's about to turn in chaos with bowls and people not going to bowls and playoff controversy and everything. So I'm hoping that all the chaos and postseason leads to some changes, but it just felt like this past weekend was the last somewhat normal part of the college football postseason, and I enjoyed watching all the games. Most of them were pretty good too. So shout out to them.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. And yeah, I'm sure we're getting ready to talk about what all this means moving forward. But I had a similar one on my best of the weekend to that tune. I mean, it's Indiana. How cool is that, man? I remember last year when they played Ohio State, they were doing their little thing and making their run, and everybody's like, wow, man, this is real cool, Coach Sig or whatever. And then they just got humbled, absolutely humbled by Ohio State when they played them in that game. So that's kind of like, that's that next hurdle before you can get to the final boss kind of deal. And man, they looked great in that game. You knew right away it was going to kind of be a different story. I still didn't think they were going to win it until really down towards the end there, but they battled their tails off. They're the real deal, man. That's a good team. They won that game. That was awesome. It was a really fun watch. Seeing the Indiana fans who kind of felt the same way, where they were in disbelief until it was over. And like, you see Ohio State fans with surrender Cobra, but you see Indiana fans just like, what just happened? I thought that was awesome, man. Kudos to them for getting it done. That was really, really cool.
Do y'all remember whenever I played a Fernando Mendoza clip on this very show during a best and worst of the weekend segment? Because when he was at Cal last year, he had this like hilarious post-game speech where he's like crying and like excited, and he's like, I'm just so proud of our guys or whatever. And we were like, oh, look at this guy, what a cool little story or whatever. Now he's at freaking Indiana, does the same thing after winning the Big Ten title game. Did y'all see that clip of him like pretty much doing the exact same thing? But it was genuine too. Like, we always kind of clown these guys of like, oh, is this forced or whatever? That's pure just love for the game, man. I really do really enjoyed seeing that.
Real quick before we get to yours too, Andrew, about the Indiana is like, they're #1 to end the like season. Like, that's incredible.
Without a debate, by the way. There's like not even a case to be made anywhere else. Right.
And to beat Ohio State, which everyone hates Ohio State. Like, it's one of the most hateable teams. But the fact that not only were they a program that's not been like in the mix, like they may be arguably, as far as Power 4 programs go, the worst of all time. Like, they may be the worst Power 4 program football-wise of all time. And look at them now. It just goes to show you that any program, and I tweeted this out, like Arkansas even, goes to show you this day and age, you can do it if you just got the right people in place. It's not this insane thing. You can do it. So it's just awesome to see it. I agree with you.
So is it my turn now?
Yeah, it's your turn.
My best weekend, it's got to be for me the Houston Texans last night. I mean, what a win, what a moment, and like, you got to understand, every team in the AFC, like Lamar and the Ravens, Joe Burrow and the Bengals, the Bills and Buffalo, Houston on a lesser scale because people don't really view us as a contender, but it's like, we've had our season ended by the Chiefs countless times. I mean, pretty much every year. You mentioned the hurdles of like Indiana getting humbled by Ohio State. Pretty much every Chiefs or every Texans season that has had any promise over the last decade has either ended by the Tom Brady Patriots, the Mahomes Chiefs. I think there was one year where Lamar got us, but it's like we have made a living losing to the team we're supposed to lose to. So for the Texans to go into Kansas City last night, take care of business, beat them, I mean, completely emasculate Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, completely neutered that offense. 3 picks for Patrick Mahomes. I think he ended up throwing some completions late, but like they could not move the ball against that defense. Just absolutely bullied them in the fourth quarter. The Chiefs have not been mathematically eliminated yet, but like the Chiefs are most likely going to miss the playoffs. They now have, y'all know what the Chiefs record is? 6-7. That is the Chiefs record right now. It's 6-7. I'm really proud of the Texans, man. Like I don't think like I don't know if we really have the offense to put it together and win 3 or 4 straight playoff games and win the Super Bowl. But, man, in the AFC right now, it's pretty wide open. I mean, you got Bo Nix's Broncos, might end up being the 1 seed. The Bills are always going to be scrappy and competitive. The Patriots have been awesome. But, like, it's completely wide open, you know. Like, Drake May or C.J. Stroud might be playing quarterback in the Super Bowl this year. It's pretty crazy. And so I'm happy that the Texans are, like, in that mix. That is my best of the weekend. Shout out to a couple Pro Hogs, though. Jordan Walsh, of course, tweeted about him. He's having this awesome, breakout year for the Celtics, who just keep winning games with like Sam Hauser and Jordan Walsh being their best players. It's the most bizarre thing in the world. And also shout out to Hunter Henry, Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee for the 11-2 Patriots.
Yes,
yep, absolutely.
I want to give it. I guess this is kind of weird to put best of the weekend, but a best of the weekend that it wound up being good news. You guys probably saw on social media, JJ Andrews and his situation. Yeah. That was scary, man. And no one of the medical personnel who was there. And that could have been a lot worse. He fell Fayetteville High School on a play at the rim and hit his head hard and had to be taken out of there and everything and was at the hospital. That was scary stuff. Got out of there with a concussion. Sounds like a wrist injury, but nothing crazy, and it could have been. So he'll be out for a little while and everything, but one, great news to hear that he's going to be okay, obviously long-term. And then after that, it's not going to jeopardize or screw anything up for him being a Razorback, next year and being full go for everything like that. But that was scary. I know a lot of people were seeing stuff coming out on social media and they were worried about him over the weekend, but he's good. And that's definitely a good thing.
Yeah. I think I saw Sean Andrews, his dad, on Facebook said that he has a fractured in his shooting wrist, and he's going to be out of action for possibly 4 weeks or so, is what he said. But he went on a lot of other stuff too in that post. I'm not going to read it all, but interesting for those of you who want to check it out. But either way, worst of the weekend for me, because I feel like again we may just use one of them for all of our worst. But I'm just going to throw this out there. This was really pissed me off. Video that got put out by Arkansas in football, and it's not the video itself of what happened in this video.
One last one?
Yep, one last one. We got to get not with that jersey on.
Hey, I'm sorry. Here, cover it up.
How are you?
I just want to listen. This kid, I don't know who he is. I don't really care. He's in the student section wearing a Duke jersey. Find him. I want you all to find him, and I want you to tar and feather him, and I want you to put him inside of a cannon that was used on pirate ships, and I want you to fire him into the sun.
Wow.
Because I do not care. Like, if you don't want to wear a Razorback, whatever, that bothers me. But when you go to a Razorback basketball game where it's packed out with students and you wear a Duke Blue Devils jersey, and I don't care if it's Duke, I don't care if it's Kentucky, like, who cares? This person should not be allowed to wear this. Like, he should have been stopped at the door and told to go home and should have had his student's access pass revoked for such a thing. Terrible, disgusting, no exceptions of this.
I'm disappointed that the students around him weren't like, bro, just take it off. You're going to be in here. Just take that jersey off. Shout out to Coach, though.
Yes.
Shout out to Coach. He gets it.
Coach felt bad, so he ended up taking a picture with him. But, like, you could tell he didn't want to. And honestly, like we can talk about what should have happened. Should he been thrown out? Should have been whatever. Legally, he didn't technically do anything wrong. I just think this is the corniest, lamest. Like, I think this kid is going to look back in his mid-30s and be like, good Lord, I was such a loser when I was 19. Like, I just think that's how he's going to feel. And by the way, This is coming from someone who owns a JJ Redick Duke jersey. I own one. It is in my closet right now. I was actually looking at it the other day. I own a JJ Redick Duke jersey because when I was a kid, I loved JJ Redick. I thought he was the man. Even I, in my stupidest days of all my time, would never have done something that stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
That's just, and I just feel like it's like trying. You kind of want to be the funny guy to get attention. I just think you're corny, man. I think these people should stay in Dallas.
I would have even accepted it more if Arkansas was playing Duke and he was wearing this Duke jersey. Like, because it's like, okay, hey, you know, because you go to school sometimes, you're not the biggest fan, but you're like, your favorite school's this. I wouldn't like it, but at least something. They're not even playing Duke. Like, you're just doing this just to be a troll. So either way, because you guys remember how pissed off I got with a mutual acquaintance of ours walks into our place over at Foghorns with a Tennessee jersey on, how enraged I got from that. Like, you guys remember that. And that's like how I feel strongly. So anyways, that was my worst of the weekend for that. But
yeah, no, that's a good one, man. I guess I've got a couple here and it'll probably spark some more conversation. One, Notre Dame.
lame.
It's just, I don't know, like you didn't get in. We're going to take our ball and go home. Yeah, you know, I should have added on best of the weekend. Let me do that real quick. Best of the weekend, also Clark Lee, because Vanderbilt didn't get in and they had an argument to be made there. And he didn't do the thing where he's, you know, whining and pissing and moaning about everything. He was like, hey, you know what? This is on us. We had opportunities against Texas. We had opportunities against Alabama. We didn't get it done. Like, we controlled our own destiny. We didn't get it done. We missed out. Sucks. Oh, well. And Notre Dame just quit on the season and, you know, we're done here, whatever. I just didn't like that. And here's the thing. If you're Notre Dame and like you have to list your best wins of the season and like Arkansas on the road is in your top 3, did you really deserve to be in anyway? And when it comes down to you and one other team and that team beat you, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know what you expected there. It sucks. You had a great season. Maybe if you were in a conference, it would have worked out a little bit differently for you. I don't know, but I hate that type of energy, for one. And secondly, it just goes into RIP to bowl season just in general. It used to be such a sacred thing, so cool, and it just means nothing anymore. They're begging teams to come play in these bowls. Shout out to Mississippi State. They're going to the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Yeah. But all these 5 and 7 teams are like, nah, fam, I'm out. You got teams that are very much bowl eligible. They're like, no, we're not doing this. Maybe they're just trying to get a jump start on recruiting, or they've got new coaches coming in, and to a degree you understand it. But when you get to the point where it was like already a little bit too saturated with all these random bowls that they have, and now you're just kind of begging to, like, okay, well, you're 4-8, but I don't know. You want to come play? That just sucks, man. And it goes to they got to figure out something with the system here, because I used to love the bowl games and people used to get fired up about them or whatever. And it's just every year. And since they started doing the playoff, it's become less and less of a thing. And now it's just a joke at this point to where nobody even wants to go to them.
My thing is, you know, if you're upset you didn't get in the playoff, like, whatever, what is it that not playing in a bowl is going to do? You know, because I even understand how you thought you were going to the playoff, you're not going, how that would affect your motivation for the bowl game. Sure, we see teams do that all the time where they show up to the bowl game and they mail it in. What is the benefit to saying, not only are we not going to take the very large payment that comes with being in a bowl game, by the way, and even if you go to the Meineke Car Care Bowl, still several $100,000 that like your university could use or whatever. We're not taking that. We are not going to give our seniors one more game to play. We are not going to have any of these bowl practices for our freshmen, sophomore, returning players that we maybe want to do stuff with. And I get it, portal, all that. But it's like, what is the pro? Like, what is the benefit of not doing any of that? It just reminds me of like, it's like the person that's at the party that's like, oh, well, if you guys are going to do that, then I'm just going to leave. And it's like, okay, like then just leave and we're gonna do our thing. Like, do they expect it? Like something was gonna happen? Like they were gonna be like, no, we're not playing in this bowl, and the committee was gonna change their mind? Or like next year, are they now if they're in this exact same spot, you think the committee's gonna be like, well, we didn't put in Notre Dame last year and they didn't go to that bowl, so I don't know, man. I remember Louisiana Tech did this when I was in high school. Sonny Dykes was a coach at Louisiana Tech, and they were 9-3, and they thought they were getting a certain bowl. They didn't get it. The Independence Bowl offered them, and they were like, no, we're not going to that bowl. We want to go to this bowl. and Louisiana Tech ended up not going to a bowl at 9-3. And it was just like, what does that accomplish? Like, I get why you're upset, but it's like, what is the upside of this move? Nobody has been able to explain that to me.
Yeah, I think it's just them in the like superiority complex that they think that they have, and them throwing a fit and being a bunch of babies. And since they're not part of a conference, they can just do things like this. And I don't know. I just think it's lame too. I think it's because I've even accepted the fact that bowl games are meaningless. I don't think they should even count like as far as like coaches like oh, well, he won the bowl game. It's like, it doesn't really matter as much, but I still like having bowl games. I still like seeing bowl games and everything. But yeah, I think it was just a cowardly move. I think it's because it's Notre Dame that they feel like they can do it. And, I've seen other teams too that have declined. What was it, Kansas State or somebody? And they're paying a $500,000 fine. And I'm like, is that worth it to not go to a bowl game to play $500,000 just to not go not to have extra practices, not to have extra reps, it's mind boggling to me.
If you know anybody in the chat right now, if you know any single person that played FBS football or Division I football at any level, ask them what their favorite part of the year was, and they would tell you the bowl game. It's like the coolest. It's like you do the whole season so that you can do the bowl. You get a bunch of merch. If you're in the PlayStation Bowl, you get a freaking PS5. Like, you get a bunch of stuff that you go to these things, you go to all these events, they shower you with stuff. And I get it. To the normal person, you're just like, oh, why would they care about that? It's like, dude, when you're playing college sports and you grind all year long, you got your best friends on the team, like, that is like a memory that you get for the rest of your life that like is cool. And I get it why the fans would be like, oh, I'm not excited about the Sun Bowl or whatever, but it's like, the players, I'm bummed out for them, frankly.
Yeah, because I don't even know if they had a say in it or not. Like, I don't know what the process was like, but I don't know. Just unfortunate.
And especially, I even get it to a degree with like 6-6 teams or whatever. It's like, I don't know. But like for Arkansas last year, the benefit was being able to see, a bunch of these young guys who you thought might be something for you. Now with the portal window being moved back, it's not going to be the same where you have half your roster who's already gone by the time you play the game, and guys can choose whether they want to play or not. But I don't know. I feel like there's some benefit to it. Had Arkansas not gone to the Liberty Bowl, Cal would have never got Desmond James.
True.
I mean, it's the biggest thing that came out of that. But
he wouldn't have caught all those passes he caught this year either.
The Notre Dame thing ticks me off, though, because I understand the disappointment of not getting in. If the same thing would have happened to Arkansas, we would have been outraged. But all of a sudden, you're too good to go play in a New Year's bowl game. Yeah, I mean, they would have gone to the next best bowl, whatever that would be. On New Year's Day, you get to go to that. It's still a prestigious deal. People would attend. It'd be watched. It'd be a good experience for the guys. I don't know, man. I can't co-sign that.
Well, what are they doing in place of it? I don't understand like what the alternative is that it's like, no, this is worth doing. We're just going to literally do nothing. That'll help our football program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't understand any of it. And yeah, this is all also could probably be avoided. Hey, if you just join a freaking conference, do that, and you get to have that extra game. You get to have that automatic bid if you win the conference. But again, I just keep going back. It's the arrogance of Notre Dame because they think that, oh, we have this deal with NBC and we're better than everybody. It's like, well, then you get left out. And again, from a perspective like everybody, it's not like it's the most egregious thing that's ever happened in the playoffs. It's like people are like, yeah, we get why you're not in. My team above you that beat you is in all of this. So yeah, I don't see it. Also, Bud Elliott, which I know I know him and he's fine and everything, but it cracked me up when he was just like, well, you scheduled Arkansas, you schedule that they're a terrible team, that program that never wins, so that's why you schedule that game. I was like, pretty sure Arkansas and Notre Dame like scheduled that in 2017 when Arkansas was actually like, I mean, they weren't great, but they were definitely a lot better than what they've been. So I don't know. It's unfortunate the way it is. Andrew, was that your worst as well, or did you have a different worst?
I had just a very quick one. It's not going to take me long. UFC, the thing happened this weekend. There were two title fights, both of which the challenger won, but the one that's the worst of the weekend for me, Alexandre Pantoja, arguably the second best flyweight of all time. He's had this awesome reign. I was really excited for his fight, and I actually bet against him because the guy who's fighting I really liked. 1 minute into the fight, they have a weird exchange. Pantoja goes to he falls down and catches his fall with his hands and completely dislocates the crap out of his elbow. One of the most gruesome injuries you'll ever see. And it happened 1 minute into the fight, and he just kind of looks up. He's literally holding on to the end of his elbow where there's no bone there, and he's like holding on to it, looking at the ref, and he's just like, and credit to Pantoja, because he's tough as nails. He didn't even react in pain. He was just kind of like confused, like, this doesn't look right and feel right. I don't know. And that's how he ends up losing his belt, where, in the WWE, if this happened, you don't lose the belt that way. In the UFC, even if it's disqualification, injury, whatever, you lose the belt. And so sucks that his reign ends in a weird way, where you not only suffer a life-changing injury, but that's how your title reign, which has been historic, ends. And also kind of sucks for Josh Van, 24 years old. This was supposed to be a moment. I had a bet on Josh Van by KO, and that bet hit. And it was supposed to be this awesome moment where it's like you wake up and you're like, oh man, imagine if I KO this guy in the first round. This will be the best day of my life. He does it. He gets the belt and he celebrated, but it's like, man, that sucks for everybody involved. Don't look up if you're like sensitive to this kind of stuff, don't look it up. But if you want to see a really nasty, gnarly injury, type in Pantoja on Twitter.
It was gross, man. Yeah, it was gross for sure.
I'm not going to do that.
I obviously wasn't able to watch. Now I was seeing the reaction in our group chat that we have. And so then I looked on the ESPN app and I saw first round KO or whatever. And I was like, no way.
Hey, 60 seconds. He must have just smoked them.
Yeah. Then quickly saw what happened. I was like, oh, that's terrible, man. Hate that. Yeah. So,
well, that is our best and worst of the weekend. We'll do our recruiting update. We'll get to your chats too, but want to remind everybody our recruiting update is presented by our friends over at Goat Lab Red, Goat Lab Brewery here in Northwest Arkansas. Great spot for pre and post game, especially when it comes to Razorback basketball. As we know, this weekend, Saturday, you're going to be having the Razorbacks take on Texas Tech. Some of you are going to be down there. We're going to be down there, but you need a great place to watch the game. Well, choose Goat Lab Red there in Fayetteville, 1214 North Garland Avenue. Because when you go there, it's an 11 a.m. right there around lunchtime. You'll be able to do the progressive wing deal, whereas the more points that get scored, especially by the Razorbacks, the cheaper the wings become until they're free. That's right, free 99. You'll have to go by the rules, of course, but it's a great deal. Great wings there. They have signature burgers. They have great brews as well, and they are the official sponsor of us here at Inside Arkansas and the Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hear from Dudley Dawson on what's been going on in the first week of the Ryan Silverfield era in recruiting at Arkansas.
Covering recruiting and the transfer portal for the Razorbacks. This is Inside Arkansas Recruiting with Dudley Dawson.
Welcome into the Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast update presented by Goat Lab Brewery. I'm your host, Dudley Dawson, and one of the things that we said we would do on this show is not only talk about high school football, but talk about portal transfers, which is going to be really big for Arkansas. As the period opens January 2nd through January 16th, there's more kids getting in there every day. One of the ones that caught my attention over the weekend, C.J. Baxter, the running back from Texas, 659 yards this year. He is a young man that visited Arkansas before he signed with Texas. He's also very familiar with David Johnson, who apparently is going to be the new running back coach at Arkansas. He committed to him when Johnson was at Florida State. So there's somebody to take a look at. An old name we're familiar with, Malachi Singleton, the quarterback who had a big hand, obviously, in Arkansas beating Tennessee at home a year ago. He is back in the portal. He had been at Purdue this year, so somebody to also, keep an eye on where he's going. Not sure he'd come back here or anything, but obviously lots of activity going on. Also, Arkansas offered on Sunday a 5-star defensive end, Aston Giote from Jacksonville, Florida, the Bowles School, 6'4", 240. Someone that, would certainly has a name around the country already. He's just a sophomore, 48 offers. And, you would say that that's a lot of people in Arkansas, maybe should concentrate on others. But if you don't recruit 5 stars, you can't get any 5 stars, the way I see it. So we'll see how it plays itself out, and we'll keep you up to date here on the Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast, sponsored by Goat Lab Brewery.
All right, that was Dudley Dawson with his Inside Arkansas Recruiting Update, and it was another thing, Malachi Singleton back into the portal. So we'll see how
he come back up KJ Jackson.
Don't think that's probably something that's going to happen. But I guess is this going to be his last year, or is he going to still be around another year? I'm trying to remember it's hard to keep up with these days.
I think he might be a redshirt junior.
Okay.
Going into next year.
Okay. So, well, if that's the case, then might be all right. He might be all right. So, all right. We'll get to some of your chats, folks. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We've had a few super chats actually we need to get to. By guy Chase, appreciate it. He says, I'm just happy Ohio State is not great at basketball since I live in Columbus. At least I have that with the Hogs over them. It's
That
true.
you do. Yes,
like
and
that.
you will always have that.
Mike Conley and Greg Oden ain't walking through that door.
That's right.
Yeah. What was the coach's
Greg Oden
name?
walk through that door, everybody know.
That was Thad Matta back in the day.
Dad
Yeah.
Mata. Yeah. He had some good teams, but that was about
He
it.
did.
That was about it. Quinn is, as we know, was really upset about Bama getting in. He says Bama shouldn't be in. It's called Bama privilege, that POS university. Gotcha. He also says it was the Notre Dame players' decision. Don't shill for Bama because they're pathetic. And he also says the fact that SEC fan bases don't call out the Bama privilege and in fact a shill for him is sickening.
I think this is a prime case of how like following sports really just fries our brains because like we're like having a conversation. Like Quinn is arguing against us in an argument that we are not even making. Like I don't even know if we've spoken about Bama yet. Maybe one of y'all mentioned them at one point, but the Notre Dame thing honestly has nothing to do. That was not our argument. Was that Notre Dame should have gotten in or anything like that, or that Bama shouldn't be in, or that Bama should be in, or any of that. I also am kind of on the side of like I was, with the way Bama played on Saturday, it wouldn't have hurt my feelings at all if they hadn't gotten in. I get why they did because you don't want to punish a team for finishing first in the SEC, but it certainly wouldn't have offended me too much. But I'm also not that offended that Bama got in, if I'm being honest with you.
I'm not either. I think it all just calls into question the system here that they've got to get figured out. I'm not, no disrespect and like happy for those schools and it's going to be a lifetime achievement or whatever. But having both James Madison and Tulane in this thing, it seems like it's not right. I understand we got to have the 5 best conference champions or whatever. Do we? Though,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe I don't know, man. So I'm a little bit bothered by that. What do you do with conference championship games? Because it seems like if there's zero consequence for the loser, then what's the point of playing it? But do you want to punish them when they earn the right to be in that game and others are just sitting at home? That seems like a very difficult thing to navigate there. But then it drops you to a 3-loss team. You got all these 2-loss teams in there. It's very convoluted. That's why I said earlier about Hunter Yurachek, like, don't know that he's handled all this particularly well in his speaking engagement. So shout out to him for staying in there and taking the punches, because a lot of this is like system related. Like after last year, remember how silly it was with the seeding and how all that worked. And it was like, okay, trial and error in hindsight, this isn't great. So they tweaked it. And now you got this going on with all these other factors, and almost feels like they need to look at it and go, okay, we thought this was going to be better, but we have an issue here that we didn't foresee. Now we got to tweak this. I think it's just going to be part of the process. And I'm kind of with you. Like if Bama would have got left out, I would have laughed at them. But the fact that they got in there, I'm not really offended by it.
Well, and also too, real quick, it's different because they beat Georgia too. It would have been something if like they just didn't beat Georgia, but like they beat Georgia, Georgia beat them. You're going to drop them because just of the timing of the game. Like, I mean, I get it, but it's like, I think I don't think Bama would have gotten in if they hadn't have beaten Georgia earlier in the year.
Which I'm okay with. Yeah. That premise of, hey, they got blown out by Georgia, but they beat that same Georgia team early in the year. That's fine with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Quinn also says, I'm saying Bama getting in should be the topic, and the fact they didn't drop one spot, Bama privilege.
Well, so, okay, to be fair, we were having a best and worst of the weekend segment, and I believe we all said that Notre Dame was like our worst, and we thought their reaction was stupid, and that's what we were talking about. We were not really having a like, hey, let's talk about the playoff, who should be in and who should be out. Obviously, this is an Arkansas show. We were not involved in the playoff at all. We can have that conversation if you want, and I'll hear you out. Like I said, it really wouldn't have stunned me if Bama didn't get in, and it wouldn't have offended me. It also doesn't offend me that they did get in. We can have the conversation if you want. I'm just saying that's not what we were arguing at all. Like I was not even close to the conversation we were having.
Yeah. And real quick, this is my biggest thing about the expansion to the playoffs, because it's always being brought up. It's like for a while, it was always a matter of if you went undefeated in college football, there was still a chance you wouldn't get to play for a title. And I'm like, I think that that's the only sport at any level in any regard to where you could go undefeated and you get zero chance to play for a title, even if you don't deserve it because you're such a terrible team. Like in basketball, if you go undefeated and you win your conference title, it's an automatic bid. You're at least getting a chance. That was my whole thing of the expansion is like, small teams, if they get in, they don't get in. My thing is like, if they're undefeated, but if they have one loss, I'm kind of like, I don't really see a reason why to put them in because they have one loss.
Well, every single team that we're arguing about, and listen, we can have the arguments and we can do it all day if you guys want. But like if Miami had not gotten into the playoff, which they did obviously, but if they had not, it would be very easy to look at their schedule and say, oh, you lost to Louisville. Oh, you lost to SMU. That's why you didn't get in. Notre Dame, the reason you lost is because you played two good teams. You lost to those two good teams. Like you at least have to be able to understand what happened and what didn't. So I'm with you, John, that as long as we don't have undefeated teams getting left out, we're really going to be okay here. Everyone else, it's like if Bama hadn't gotten in, they wouldn't really be able to be that upset about it. You had 3 losses. Yeah. Just win those games and you get in. Like I just think we need to accept the results of some of these games that do take place. And just it sucks. And it's like, yeah, you play a tough schedule, but it's like we have to go off of the games. What else can we go off of? Yeah.
And last point I promise I'll make is just somebody brought it up. They need to get rid of the Tuesday, like the show weekly rankings. They need to get rid of the rankings.
Yes.
Because
agreed.
That to me is what has caused more of the like, well, why'd you move? Because it just seems like they're making it up as they go is what it comes across as. Because Notre Dame was above Miami and then neither team played. And now it's like, well, now team jumped the other one. Well, okay, what happened? Get rid of the rankings. Just do the only ranking. They won't do this because it's money, but just do it at the final time. And then that way there's no like, how do you do this? What made sense? It's like, no, you don't have to be accountable for rankings in week 9.
And that's why Hunter Yurachek kept, it sounded like he was contradicting himself, and he was, but that's because factors changed and everything. But he did look silly sitting up there doing it was because there was BYU that was sandwiched in between Miami and whoever the hell it was, Notre Dame. And then once that wasn't a thing anymore, then we had to evaluate them side by side. And now we care about the head to head. And it's just like, what do you mean? Because you put these teams in pods, you weren't already doing that. And it was a tough spot for him to have to be the spokesperson for the committee there. But yes, I'm with you. If they weren't doing that every single week, and I know you want to have transparency and keep people informed in the process, and it's great for TV and all that, but it does put them in a very difficult spot because some of the decisions you have to make, like the variables change from week to week, and it might go against the grain of some of the other things that you've had going on. It's a tough one.
They put Hunter Yurachek in the position to be the whipping boy. Like this is just like it's all of this leads to the theory that Hunter Yurachek was specifically put in this spot so that people could direct their anger at someone, and direct it at him. Don't direct it at us.
That's right. That's right. A few more super chats before we get out of here. Real quick, Paddlefish says it's a rebellion, Ellis, and they don't want to give more money to the network that left them out of the playoff.
All right.
It's a rebellion.
Rebellion, I guess. That's why we are not going to play a football game.
Yep. That's
rebellion.
Right. Yep. That's hope it works out for you. I'm sure you get your message across.
Yeah.
Finch also says, says, already did in Discord DM, but we want to publicly apologize to Curtis for my extremely poor execution. My delivery, utmost apologies and respect to y'all.
No apology necessary from Finch. Yeah, I think some things got lost in translation in a message that he sent me. My frustration was, without getting into the details of our little conversation there, was more in not liking him feeling the way that I thought that he felt. And so we had to clear the air on some things. It's all good. Don't worry about it. We're fine.
All right.
But yeah, so no, we're we're good. I just want to make sure everybody knows that they're very appreciated. That's all.
Of course. Well, we
I
always
don't want anybody to feel like they're not, because this thing's growing very fast. You know what we're doing here, and I want to get back to this because we appreciate everyone. I know we get like a ton of new members all the time, and then we got different people. If we're doing our live streams or our post games or whatever, and there's a lot of super chats, and there's just more chats in general than everything. We never want anybody to feel like they're left out or anything like that. I'm not saying that Finch feels that way or whatever, but as this gets bigger, it's we want everybody to know that we love you all the same. And, we still got a lot of love for the people that have been here from the beginning, and we're excited about all the new folks and everything like that. But this thing is becoming a bear, man. And so we're handling it the best that we can. And sometimes it's easier than others. And, if we get in a post-game show after a big win or whatever, and there's a ton of people in there, and there's trolls in the chat, and there's arguing in the chat, and then we missed some things that we probably should have gotten to because it got lost in translation. It's not intentional. It's not personal, for sure.
Yeah. It is growing. That's for sure. And it's great. We love the fact that it is, and it's only going to keep going up from here. So, but really appreciate it. Sorry, got to read final super chat from Quinn. Says it's the fact that they didn't drop one spot. Bammer benefited many times from a losing in the SEC title game. So
again, like we can do the conversation if you want, and there's certainly an argument to be made for Bama not being in the playoff. I can hear the argument. I can even agree with the argument. I will say that the week before we knew this, like they did since we're talking about the weekly ranking show, when they ranked Bama 9 going into the SEC championship game, we all knew in that moment, and they pretty much told us, hey, this is basically confirming that we are not going to, like, this is how we view them. That view is not going to change based on them losing in the SEC title game, even if it's 100-0, which is pretty much what happened. And again, I'm not saying you have to agree with it. I don't even necessarily agree with it, but I also just don't think like this is like some crazy egregious shock. In fact, I was even texting buddies arguing that Bama shouldn't be in the playoff. So it's not even that I don't disagree, like don't agree with you, Quinn. I do. I just I don't think it was like this crazy like conspiracy that they pulled a fast one. It's like they kind of told you what was going to happen. I don't necessarily agree with it, but that's what happened, and I think it's also not that hard to make a case for Bama being in the playoff. I think people need to be realistic here. It's like the world is not freaking ending every time anything happens.
Yeah, I did just getting real quick. Couple final super chats here. Quinn just says, "I know it was Bama privilege, like I said." So
Bama privilege, yeah. It's definitely not that they beat Georgia in Athens. It's definitely not that.
And then finally, Mike, appreciate the super chat. Says, just curious if you guys think Bray Cook will be on staff since he and Silverhog are good buddies. I don't know. I know Bray fairly well, and I've been texting him. I know he was a coach at Pea Ridge, head coach there for a while, and he is very close with him. I don't know. I don't know if there's a role or if that's what they're wanting, but I do know that they're close. I do know that they've been working together for a while, so I guess we'll see.
Maybe an analyst type deal or something. I don't know. I don't know what that would look like. It'd be cool if it happened, but.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, Quinn, man, you're killing me. Says it's not a conspiracy. The SEC office is in Bammerham, and they're all Bammers. So
this
cracking
is awesome.
me up, man. And cracking me up. Listen, I get it. I have a good friend that's a Bama fan, and it's I get it. So it's a rivalry, man. You guys hate each other. I get it. All right, guys. Any final thoughts before we roll out of here today, or before Quinn sends another super chat?
My final thought is that on these days where we go a little bit longer than 1:30, on sunny days, I've got this, like the sun, I've kind of got these weird blackout curtains, but they don't quite cover the window. It's getting on my nerves. So I got to do something a little bit different here because I'm trying to like block it from being in my camera. It's getting on my nerves a little bit. I didn't even notice it until one day somebody was like, Curtis, you got this weird orb right behind your head. And I was like, what? And it's the sunlight. So got to figure that out. That's my final thought. That's all I got.
I like that. My final thought is I've got to get out of here. We got to end this show quickly because I got some business to attend to. Everyone look for me on Netflix tonight. That's all I'll say. Just look for me on Netflix. I'll be there.
All right. Well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Curtis.
I do know. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Yeah.
Well, apparently I don't know. So I guess I'll have to be
You'll
on
know
Netflix.
in about 2 minutes.
All
look
right,
for me on
good.
Netflix, everybody.
All right, there you go. Well, appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching into Inside Arkansas Live. Be sure to subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas on our YouTube page. You can check us out wherever audio podcasts are found as well, whether it's Inside Arkansas Live, Pod at the Palace, Bombastic Podcast, Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast, and also on social media at Inside Arkansas. That'll do it for us today. For Andrew Ellis, as well as Curtis Wilkerson, intern Cameron, I'm John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel tomorrow at noon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you then.